transfer, and then we'll come back to the issue. So are there any other questions on the transfer itself?
So the transfer is for the new cars? Or
I guess just to keep it
to-
simple on the transfer is unused payroll that we will not use being moved over to equipment budget.
And then we'll determine whether that gets used for cars or not. But first, it would be just a question of approving the transfer from a payroll line item to an equipment line item.
We're hoping to hire lateral. If we do, they would come in at first class pay, not the probationary. Even if we ran a process now and possibly could bring in a probationary, I don't think we could get them through perf before end of the year. That's why we're moving money out of that line, because we're confident that we wouldn't need it the rest of this year.
Any additional discussion on the transfer itself?
No.
Roll call vote. Again, Mike, it involves money, you will not be able to vote on this. Sandy Flora,
Aye.
Spencer Kingery,
Aye.
Cody Nelson,
Aye.
Dave Weckerly.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, so that approves the transfer. Now, if you want to explain a little bit further, have the numbers changed from the last time that you presented the proposal to council, and if so, how, and how do you plan to pay for this?
Yes, the numbers changed as far as whenever I talked to the clerk treasurer and she asked if there were those 3 additional cars. I believe a portion of that was going to be financed through the short-term loan that was discussed at a previous meeting.
And that was around 190,000.
I believe so.
And so where are we now?
That 190,000, I haven't heard from the clerk treasurer if we finalize that. As far as that loan being finalized for those vehicles. My understanding is we had we had one that was encumbered, 2 that were being paid for that the clerk treasurer had said that she found the money for, and then the loan that would cover some of these additional. I think we were just short the 1 vehicle and the money for the 1 vehicle, and that transfer should cover that.
So then, other than the transfer, nothing has really changed from when you received approval for the short-term loan?
Again, just those 3 additional vehicles that were discussed.
It's additional vehicles, but you found a way to pay for one of those vehicles. So is everything covered, I guess, is the question.
That would be a question for the clerk treasurer.
Oh. Okay, so where are we then with that?
Well, first of all, go back on your records, then if we're gonna do this. If you go back on your records, you approved to 4 cars setting out here, 4 SUVs setting out here. And when Chief McCain was still here, you approved 3 cars 1 year and 3 cars the next year. You approved 2 more men on your staff. So that meant you were gonna have 9 men on the staff, and it meant you were gonna have 10 cars. Correct? Do you remember that? Okay. So at the present time, you've got 4 cars sitting out there, and you have the car that Nate purchased. And yes, he's correct in the sense that those are paid for. We have an encumbrance plus money in the budget this year for 1 car. Excuse me. And then we have an approved loan for 4 cars. So you now have an extra car sitting out there, so you've got 5 cars out there now, and you've got a car that's encumbered. It's going to be short being outfitted, but then you have a loan approved for 4 cars. So you're setting at 10 right now. If I go by your numbers, you're going at 4 cars setting out there plus the extra one that we bought already. you're looking at the encumbered cars that I'm gonna have to find extra money for, plus you're looking at 4 cars on the loan, and then I'm contributing 2 more cars for rainy day, which I need for other bills. But that ends up giving you a total of 13 cars, so you sell 2 of them and you're down to 11 cars. You got 9 men and you're parking 11 cars here. And we can't outfit them, so that means they're gonna sit here, or not here, they were set, I believe you're taking them to move over outfitters. So they'll be stored until we can outfit them, which we can at different times. 2 cars could be easily, or more. You're transferring $60,000. So 4 cars could be outfitted, because now we've determined we don't need 20,000, we only need 15,000 to outfit it. So you could outfit 4 of those cars. But if you take the present number, and maybe I misled you, I'm not telling you to buy 3 extra cars. You were standing there saying they were not going to make cars next year. So I said, make sure you get all your cars and see if they have extra inventory to cover you. But you actually have your cars. Now you don't, you've got 4 approved. If you want to trade 2 vehicles in, then you need to put 6 on that loan. You need to put 6 on the loan so that you can end up trading 2 in.
So,
No.
I think the concern is that if they're not gonna be making cars next year, and that seems to be where we're headed.
Which is a good point to bring up. With asked for, they say that the ordering window may not open. They may only build overflow from 2023, so may not have an opportunity. We do have an opportunity. The price is going up, I'm told, allegedly from, first of all, we're paying $42,800 for these cars. The price was higher. I was able to get additional cars at the lower price. I'm told the price is going up to about $48,000, a little over $48,000. And real quick to go back, 13 cars
That's
was,
rare.
and 13 cars was never discussed. And I think there's an extra car in there somewhere. You landed at 12. I'm not asking for 12. I understand we need and want to be at 10, but I also can't get rid of cars before we have cars.
Right.
So we will be in limbo for a moment while they're being outfitted. As soon as they're outfitted, we would look to, I'm looking to get rid of 1 car before we even take them to the outfitters, and that would be car 3 to free up that 18.5.
So, will car 1 be back in service before the end of the month?
We hope so.
So that your window for selling car 3 and that 18.5 is the end of the month.
Currently, yes.
So is your plan to sell that before you have car 1?
No, I'm hoping car 1 is back soon. The body work is what should have taken the longest. The body work is done. It had to go through multiple trips to Ford because they couldn't activate a headlight in the computer correctly, basically. So, in theory, the hard part's done. Now it's at the outfitters to get some minor repairs, and then we should have it back. So my hope is to have that car back before we sell car 3.
Okay, but and then the goal is to end up with 10 cars.
Yes.
So you have 1 car for each of your officers and including your car, and then a spare, which would be in case we have an accident with another car or it needs servicing or something of that sort. Is that?
Correct, and especially servicing the way it worked out, the hope and plan is to go to a GM product to have it serviced locally. However, they were not available, but Fords were available. So if we have warranty issues, as we've already had, it has to go out of town to be serviced. So yeah, we need a spare car for when that happens.
So in order to accomplish this, we would need to increase the size of the loan from the 190 to what, about 235, somewhere in that range? Do we have that number?
If it was one full additional car, including outfitting, the number was right around 62.
Or 252.
It's around 252, and what would that roughly take the monthly, or take the annual servicing?
That I don't know. The original servicing was 44,000 a year. I don't know what the additional car would take it to. I know that the
So
clerk
it's a
treasurer was in
5-year
the call.
short-term loan, correct?
I believe so.
Is that at,
It's a 5-year loan.
5-year loans?
5-year loan.
And interest rate was?
Sure.
I think it was 5.8, 5.20,
5.5, 5.7,
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
so,
So I'm gonna, clarification on the loan for the cars, cause you said something about 6 on the loan. So we encumbered money plus had room in the budget for 1 this year, for this year. We have not purchased that one yet, correct? And then we said, okay, let's get 2 more. You're originally gonna take it out of rainy day, is that what you're wanting to put on the loan as well? Or are we taking that still out of rainy day?
You know, I'm so tired of moving this P around.
I know, I'm just trying to clarify this out.
Yeah, I know, well, so am I, in my head.
yeah,
Which version do we want? I mean, come on, guys. I don't know what you're doing for sure. I know what you have now. I know what we have encumbered to buy. I know that I can buy another car. You have a loan for 4. But you have 7 cars waiting to be picked up.
So there was 2 and then a loan for 4. That's 6. The transfer would be the 7.
Your 60,000 you're transferring.
Mhm.
I thought you were gonna use that for outfitting.
However it goes, I thought the loan itself had some
We can't do
outfitting.
both. I mean, it either has to be paying for a car, or it has to be paying to outfit cars.
Mhm.
So I guess the question for council is, do we want to proceed with getting the additional cars? And if so, do we want to authorize increasing the amount of the loan to cover that? It sounds as if the servicing of that about we would budget each year for a car.
Correct. It would be less. I would think it would be less than buying another new car and outfitting it.
Outfitting
And
it.
especially with the car prices going up every year.
And
Even
especially
with-
with availability.
That's-
And these cars being take-home cars, if we hope to have 7-year life out of them, in theory, they survive the 5-year loan. If we start budgeting 1 car a year as the servicing, and then in the 6th year, that 1 car a year then becomes cycling out 1 car a year, and we're not standing here talking about multiple cars.
That makes sense.
So all the cars and servicing every year would eliminate the need for the budget item for the next few years and still be
Well,
less.
you'd be servicing the
Serving
loan,
loans.
so
Yeah.
you
Right.
still
No.
have the.
Right,
yeah.
but you're not paying for new cars, so
And
you think
go
that's
5
less.
years without buying another car? That's irrational. No, you can't. You're not gonna, your loan's gonna be a 5-year loan. You can't go 5 years before you have to service one of those cars.
Well, service is different than replacing.
All right, I'm saying service. I'm saying replace the car. You are not gonna be able to take those cars 5 or 6 years without.
Much of the point of going to take-home cars is that you expect a longer life out of them, that the take-home car should be closer to 7 years of life, with 1 officer driving it and it being used for just that officer's shifts, and not serving double and triple duty with multiple officers driving it.
So you're wanting to sell car 3. What about car 5 that has the most
That's the.
That's
miles?
the Taurus that we just got.
So,
Oh, okay.
so that car was bought whenever there was a limited number of cars being bought, and we were going to basically be 1 short of take-homes. I purchased that vehicle out of existing money in our garage and motor fund, to get that one car to bridge the gap to get us to take home cars.
So is the intent to, once you have cars that are outfitted, to eventually sell that for us?
Possibly. And I say possibly because it changes every day. We don't, you know, if one of those cars on that list gets wrecked between now and then, if everything was perfect and everything stayed in one piece, would that be the next one to get sold possibly?
Okay, so, I think the question for council is, do you wish to, allow the purchase of all 7 of those cars that are on the Bloomington Ford lot? And that would entail increasing the size of the short-term loan to cover the additional vehicles. We don't have quite the number on that, but it would be in the range of $250,000 for the loan.
And can we sustain that month, or that yearly payment?
That would be the cost of purchasing a car each year,
Mhm.
so.
And that was not, but that's not in my budget for 2024. So that would, I mean, that's a point to discuss for 2024, but then moving forward, we can work that into the budget to service that for the remaining 4 years.
And just to clarify, this 250 roughly, that it's gonna be, that's outfitted.
No.
Is that
Ye-
cost?
2 of them would be outfitted, the rest of them wouldn't be.
So where are we getting the money to outfit them?
Okay, so then if we're purchasing the vehicles from the loan, then we're back to the 60,000 that is being transferred to equipment to use to outfit those cars.
So 3
Plus,
in
we
next
also-
year's budget.
Your present loan for 4 cars was 1 car outfitted and 3 cars not outfitted. So there was 1 car at 62,000 in the loan and 3 cars at 42,800.
Okay.
And the 60,000, that should finish outfitting the rest of them? Is that something?
With some, the full 62 is, so from the outfitter, light siren, vinyl, cage, it's about 15,000. The additional money comes in when we put stop sticks, PVT, AED in a car. So in theory, from the outfitter, 60,000 would outfit 4 vehicles.
Plus,
Selling car 3
Then you'd be.
at 18,500 would outfit another car, correct?
Correct.
Plus, I'm finishing up out of rainy day, the encumbered car. We're short on car and outfitting it. So we're gonna take that difference from rainy day.
I just wanna be sure we don't buy a car and it's not able to be outfitted.
Well, that was one of my contingencies all along, to take those cars, not have them outfitted and move over outfitters till March of next year and start outfitting them. Then that's kinda not a good financial idea.
Right, and we did budget for outfitting 3 cars next year. We did not budget purchasing cars. So we did need to wait till January to outfit some of the cars. That would be a possibility. Or we use the 60K that's being transferred. And then presumably, if we figure out these numbers, that outfitting number next year could service the loan.
The other possibility too is with the present budgets you have this year, if you just don't get nuts on me the rest of the year, then there should be some excess revenue left in that budget. So at the end of the year, instead of turning that back into general, encumber some of those funds for outfitting after the first of the year. So we're still holding it, but once I close out the books the first of the year, then you can use that encumbrance.
For how
So
many
you-
cars?
It's whatever, yes. It's whatever we can
whatever. We'll figure something out. I don't know how much you'll have left in his budget. I'm just saying that is a possibility to outfit some more cars.
And going with the car thing too, he's not gonna get all 7 right away anyway with move over. He's gonna be placed on a queue. I can tell you that now, because IMPD's got 70 cars sitting there. So that's just IMPD, that's not including Carmel and everyone else. So we'll be put in the queue, and it'll probably be at the end of the year anyway, or the beginning of next year.
Yeah.
So 6 cars on the loan. For the short term, agreements on that?
I thought it was 7, or the ones that, yeah. Counts, 6 cars along.
But the 44,000 is based on the loan payment is based on the 190 that we've got that
Mhm.
isn't on.
So your loan payment will go up, but I don't, I think tomorrow, you don't drink coffee.
Sure I do.
Good. You bring a cup of coffee and we sit down with loan before I call Lynn Ness again. I'm not gonna do this many more times. So before I call her again, let's sit down and see if we can make, between the encumbrance and the car in the budget, between the one car that will pay out a rainy day, let's see if we can order 5 or 6, not 7 cars, maybe 5 cars, and get all of your 7 purchased. So let's sit down and look at it before we call her tomorrow. I do not anticipate a problem with Lynn Ness, but let's get a definite number this time before we.
Okay, so where are we? Are we committing to purchasing all 7 vehicles?
Can we table that until we've talked over coffee?
We can't,
They
This
may
has to
not
be done.
there.
No, they're not gonna hold them much longer.
No.
He's got 4 is definitely spoken for us, but now we've spoken for 7. Nate has spoken for 7 down there, so if we don't give him an answer pretty soon, he knows for sure the most he's gonna get us for is 4 then, so he's gonna take those other 3 and sell them.
Yeah.
So you don't want to. You could make it conditional upon a favorable loan and loan amount. And as long as it's favorable as far as the amount of cars that we're purchasing and the purchase price stays within the price of a new vehicle within a year, you have done your duty.
So I would make that motion. We can buy all 7 cars additional on approved loans for the set amounts, and each car is able to be outfitted appropriately with various funding sources.
So, sounds good. I'll second that.
wow, can you write that out for me?
Yeah, that's what you, yes, I'd like you to say that again too.
Slower.
I already forgot. So cars conditional on
Favorable loan agreement.
favorable loan
Even
or
if
something, and
Even if that.
cars are able to be outfitted.
Take that back off.
Hmm?
Take that part back off.
Take that part back off. Okay.
You may not be able to outfit them all till next year. You may be able to outfit most of them, but not all of them.
So it could be,
Because of the 3 in the budget for next year.
right,
That's fine.
able to be outfitted
I'll take that part off.
this year or next.
Yes.
Okay, so, or just take it off.
All right.
You seconded that?
Yes, I'll second that.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
In the long run, this will save money.
It
It'll-
will in the long run, yes. So,
If we don't ask, we will lose.
Yep.
That's gonna happen. We may lose some cars.
And they were purchased at 42, right?
Yep.
42, 882, 25, if I remember correctly.
42, 882, 45.
Really good price.
Yeah.
But they have already went up this year.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes,
To anyone else.
we should be paying a higher price, but we were able to negotiate.
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote on this, and again, because it involves money, Mike, I'm afraid you're not able to vote. Please indicate your vote when your name is called. Sandy Flora,
Aye.
Spencer Kingery,
Aye.
Cody Nelson,
Aye.
Dave Weckerly.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. I hope we know what that motion was. Someone will help to reconstruct that. Okay, good. Phew, that's the end of the business portion of the meeting. We'll move to council comments and requests, starting with President Pro Tem Kingery.
I have none.
Any other council?
What a birthday present of the meeting.
You what?
I said, what a birthday present of the meeting.
Was today your birthday?
I told you guys that.
Oh, wow. Well, you want us to sing happy
No, I
birthday too?
Oh, come on, Cody.
Golly, Cody, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Clerk Treasurer Aldrich.
Do you want your birthday announcement in the minutes?
Cake or cookies is preferable.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Okay, we can do that too.
Clerk Treasurer Aldrich.
No.
Okay. Public comments, and I will say first on public comments that the public hearing on the budget was October 2nd, and so that was the time to talk about the budget. The rate increases, the public hearing for those will be November 6th, so if there are any public comments related to anything other than the budget or the rate increases, we're happy to entertain them. Okay. One last motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Without objection, we are at 7 o'clock. Wow.